Welcome to another video. My name is Taylor Arndt, and I'm a blind accessibility professional, app developer, and AI enthusiast. I've got a topic that really makes me outraged so much that I decided to take the time and record a video. What happened? Well, the European Union, that covers a lot of the continent of Europe, like 20 some countries or so, put in a new AI regulation that took effect the other day, August 2nd, 2026, and it sets some new rules for AI manufacturers. Now, I have to get this out of the way because you're probably going to be wondering, why is somebody that is a US citizen who lives in the US who doesn't really care about European affairs covering this? This is a global problem. There's a new Article 50, and this is to help to ensure transparency of content. So, who made it, AI or human? Transparency is not the problem here. I am fine with being transparent with AI. AI has really saved my sanity because, as somebody who has a chaotic brain with ADHD, AI has helped me to organize thoughts in a way that everybody else understands. So I'm fine with transparency. AI content needs machine readable marking. And this is rule 2. This is honestly what I have a huge problem with. Providers that generate synthetic audio, images, video, text must generally make the output machine readable, that it's artificially manipulated. What that means is that the audio, video, images, and text must be identified in a way that can be machine readable, saying that an AI manipulated this. Now, there's an exception to this rule as well for editing. If an AI is performing a assistive function for standard editing. So I guess the question is, it's kind of like a gray area. How do I know if it's assistive editing versus like fully writing? Because I could give it a transcript and then it kind of adds stuff to it. This is kind of unclear to me, and it's kind of got me a little bit, might I say, nervous. But that's how I start on my post. I literally just start dictating a brain dump. So that, I don't know. I'm just nervous because, like, does that mean it's significantly altering if it's taking parts of the transcript and moving them around? I don't know. That's what's got me a little worried. Okay, so writing is a huge area for me, and you know that I write a lot on my Substack. Section 4, rather. It focuses on AI-generated text that's published, intended to inform the public. Well, still, that could impact my Substack, so I'm not sure. That's very unclear because at least I'm not like a professional journalist, but I'm still a little concerned about how that will impact independent creators like me. Conform to applicable accessibility requirements. And so my concern is, even though you guys say in this law that it has to be accessible, a law does not mean anything until it's actually being enforced. Okay, maybe we'll have the fines that Europe has and things. That's fine. That will do good for maybe a month or two until the organization decides to go back to their old ways and get fined again. And it's going to be cheaper for them to pay the fine than to actually get the work done. But I'll tell you what, the only way to get them to comply is either give them like a governmental deadline with a fine attached to it, or a lawsuit, or some other legal proceeding. AI is used for assistive technology. Look, I am producing this video with AI. There's a lot of AI going in the background. For example, I've got my outline that I'm using to read off of this that helps me summarize the information in a way that I can read it effectively on screen. I've got my scripts to help me post this to YouTube and make descriptions and make it all visually friendly. And I use AI image generation to make a thumbnail so it's just not some boring look of my face. Look, a lot of AI is being done in this video. And without AI, frankly, I cannot do as good of videos as I do now. AI has helped me so much that without it, I would not be able to do the things that I do. I'm just going to put it out straight. All I want you to take away from this one is that AI is a form of assistive technology. And if we're not careful and we keep putting restrictions on it to keep the bad actors away, which I agree we should, we need to make sure that we don't make it so restrictive that we're actually discriminating the people that AI was meant to help, or at least it thinks it was going to help, right? With like blind and ADHD and other things. So right now, even though that we're doing all this stuff, I'm still thinking that this law could be a form of discrimination. And honestly, I think it is, because we're going to really think about targeting heavy AI users potentially. I'm seeing reports that like people that are using these AI tools may not be able to get certain jobs or may not be able to do other things because they're going to look at these watermarks in their resumes. And you know what? With that being said, I think that's honestly a form of discrimination. I'm just going to put it out there. Disabled people use AI for a lot of use cases. So OCR is optical character recognition. And what that helps us do is helps us to take images that are not accessible and convert it to text that is. So that's very important. So what happens if AI changes the text on that and then makes the watermarks, right? So basically it changes the text to make it formatted well or something, then there could be watermarks on OCR content. Honestly, I don't think that's appropriate. EU, you guys need to think about this. Reading inaccessible documents, yeah. Understanding images, yeah. Describing surroundings, yeah. What happens if I see watermarks and every time I'm trying to get navigation guidance with AI? Or what happens if I'm trying to do something like, I don't know, read a menu and I have an AI watermark? Guys, this really needs to be straightened out. There's no excuses for making it harder for people that need assistive technology and AI as a form of that to be harmed by this. This is not effective for us. And honestly, what we need to do, because like Anthropic is actually putting these watermarks not just in the EU but globally. Y'all, if you're gonna do these watermarks and you're going to put them in the EU, only put them in the EU. Can't this just involve one conditional flag that says if in the EU, put it the watermarks? I don't know why I have to be subject to this law. This is not the US's law. The US government did not make it, and yet I have to be, well, affected by it because somebody in parliament decided to make it. This is not how we should make this work, y'all. So, AI companies, if you happen to stumble upon this video and it goes viral, I hope it does anyway. But I want you to know, make your AI watermarks only for the EU. You do not need to punish the rest of the world for the EU government's actions. And what happens when the systems that distinguish AI content cannot determine if it's being used for like assistive technology or it's like actual human or AI? I just could see a lot of things going wrong. And look, blind people and people with disabilities already have it hard enough. We do not need this other curveball, EU. If you want to throw curveballs at us, maybe actually throw curveballs at people in the world to actually make it easier. Maybe actually embrace some of these things and honestly have people who are disabled, who are impacted by some of these things at the policymaking table. What does this take to get this done? This is not rocket science. Maybe it is for governments, but this is not rocket science for people who actually need to get this done, like people like me. But I really hope that you guys will understand the accessibility implications and you'll think about talking to your policymakers and your governments and even showing people this video. Look, I do not care if people from government see this video. In fact, if you know what, if they do, that's great. They can actually see somebody across the world that their laws are impacting. Actually, you know what, that might be a great advocacy move. But anyway, I really hope you guys have a wonderful day and subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, share it with anybody you know.